Hey there, welcome to Empowered Abundance. I'm Lori, and we are on principle number 3. And before I really talk about this principle, I want to remind you guys that these are very fundamental ideas that I'm sharing. And some of these things, some people listening might go, well, of course, and there's so much more than what she's saying. Yes, but believe it or not, there are some people who will be listening to this and say, oh my gosh, I've never even heard that before, or I never even heard it that way, or wow, gosh, that's great to know it in that fashion, right? So I just want to give you some ease in the fact that these are just foundational. And then again, we practice. And I'm trying to make it really simple. And then after I do the fundamentals, I'm going to do a few more videos, maybe doing the next step to some of these things. But this step in particular is a little sketchy in making it as simple as I'm going to make it, which is why I kind of wanted to preface this particular video with the whole idea that these are fundamental. So today's principle is emotions are not feelings. Cool, right? So now we're going to differentiate between the two, but I want you to liken, for the purpose of having an explanation of how to navigate life and be able to live it fully alive, right? So that's the point of making this really simple and foundational, is because the goal is to live fully alive, right? So I'm differentiating between these two things on purpose because they have different uses and different purposes in our life in order to engage in this fully aliveness. Okay, so our emotions are indicators of how we are experiencing or looking at, or what paradigm or perspective we have about a situation. And then our feelings are an inner knowing, a intuition, okay? And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail of both of those, but I just wanted to kind of separate them that way. So think about your gas tank, right? You're driving along, you have a gauge. It has empty on one end and full on the other end, right? That's an indicator in order to give you feedback. Right? So a full tank isn't necessarily good and an empty tank is bad. It's just an indicator that it's full or empty, right? The gauge isn't going, oh, I'm so glad I'm over here on the full side, and it doesn't feel sad when it's over here on the empty side. It's just a gauge to let you know information, feedback, if you will. And our emotions are the same way. So if we're feeling frustrated, it's just an indicator that we're looking at a situation a particular way. And most of the time, if we're feeling frustrated, it's because we're feeling like, here's this situation and I can't do anything about it. So I get frustrated because I lack either the skill, the knowledge, or the understanding of how to make this thing different, right? Let's look at shame. Shame usually means, here's this situation or this behavior that I did and it makes me wrong. And so now there's shame involved in how our emotions are letting us know that we're looking at that situation, right? And on the flip side, you guys, even happiness really is an indicator. And what does happiness indicate? Because a lot of times you guys were like, okay, we want to be happy, but we don't want to be sad. But happiness externally really still is an indicator of I have what I want, right? A lot of teachings talk about the difference between happiness and joy. And happiness being, I have something externally going on for me right now that I like, that I want, that I think is good. And joy is really this internal feeling like no matter what's going on, I'm okay. So even happy is got a sense of indication in the experience of it, okay? So then on the flip side, now we have feelings. And the reason I'm distinguishing the two of these different things is because I don't know about you, but on my journey, I was told not to trust my feelings, right? But what that actually ended up doing was then I didn't trust my intuition, right? And when people say don't trust your feelings, they're really saying don't trust your emotions, because your emotions are just indicators that create feedback that then now you can do something with that information, right? But our feelings are that internal guidance system, that intuition, and depending on where you come and what your religious bent is, even the Holy Spirit in us communicating to us something, right? So if you're walking down the road and you just get this feeling like it's unsafe, go somewhere else, like walk away or hurry up or whatever, right? That's that feeling, that indicator that something is amiss, right? Or what if you walk into a room and you're like, gosh, I don't know what it is about that person, but I really want to meet him. That's that feeling. That's that guidance system saying something about that person I recognize, I really want to be a part of, right? And on the flip side, you walk into a room and you're like, okay, if I never met that person my whole life, like it wouldn't bother me. Or you're meeting somebody for the first time and you're like, I don't know why, but there's just something weird about this person, right? Those are the things that I'm talking about that are feelings, which are not the same as our emotions. So if you've ever gotten that understanding, like I did, don't trust your feelings, separate emotions, which we can't trust because they're just indicators. I mean, we can trust that they're indicating something, but we can't know what they're indicating until we actually go and dig into, okay, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Where is my perception amiss? Whereas a feeling should direct us to an action or a change of behavior, right? So, you guys, this has been so fun for me to make these videos. I love sharing my experience. I love sharing the journey that I've had from being somebody who lives really in a lot of bondage psychologically to living this life of freedom. And so I just thank you for listening. I thank you for being here. And thanks for being on the other end of this super fun thing for me to do. Anyway, so see you tomorrow with principle number 4.